Unfortunately, most people who start making money in dropshipping lose like everything in the first 6 months of actually starting to do good numbers, all right? I'm gonna tell you about 2 horror stories which happened to me and one of my students where this was the case. And I'm also gonna tell you what to do to prevent all of those things. And in this video, I'm gonna be very transparent about the downsides of dropshipping, because I see so many people portraying the dropshipping business model as like this end-all be-all thing where you're basically just gonna make money quick and there's no option to lose everything and you're just gonna be rich very soon, all right? This is not the case. You need to understand this is a proper business with proper risks involved, like every other business. And I'm gonna tell you the exact things what you can do to actually prevent like losing everything. However, there's always things which can go down for whatever reasons. Trust me, what I'm gonna tell you right now is one of those things which, if you apply this, it's gonna save you an insane amount of money. You have no idea how much I would pay for the advice I'm gonna give right now, like 5 years ago. If I would have gotten it then, I would be at a completely different level right now. So let me tell you the story about how I actually lost the first $500,000 in revenue. I basically lost all the profits from there. Now thinking back about it, it was super dumb. However, it happened and I learned a lot from it. So what happened and what did I do wrong? Back then, what I did was I only focused on things which I thought matter a lot. And I really applied this concept of I only do money-making activities right now. If this thing which I'm doing is not making me money, I'm not doing it, okay? Obviously, I just apply this to the business, not my whole life, but like while my kind of working hours, I was only doing the things which actually made me the most amount of money. And unfortunately, all the tracking and all the bookkeeping and all the profit tracking was not one of those things which I thought is gonna make me a lot of money. So I didn't do that. And the mindset itself is correct. You should only focus on the things which matter the most, and you should only do the things which make you the most amount of money. However, after that's done, you still need to do profit tracking. And you really need to. Like if you don't, you're gonna lose money, guaranteed, for sure. No doubt about it. I guarantee you, you will lose money if you don't do proper profit tracking. So what I did was basically, I made a bunch of money and I started to scale my stores, and everything was great. And I scaled further and further and further and further, and everything was amazing. However, at some point, I hit a level where I was spending $5,000 per day in Facebook ads, okay? For some beginners here, it sounds like a crazy amount. And if you spend $5,000 every single day on ads, that's so outside of your like reality, it's not even like fathomable. However, this is exactly what happened. I spent 5K and I was making anything between like 8 to 10K, okay? And I saw the revenue. I saw that I'm consistently doing over $8,000 per day and I'm crushing it. In reality, I wasn't, because after scaling to those numbers, I had no idea what my proper break-even point is. I didn't know how to calculate all my fees. I didn't know how to calculate all the refunds which would wait for me in the later stages, because if I make a sale right now, there's a potential for a refund, okay? And I just need to calculate the average of all the refunds I'm making and then deduct that from the initial order to have my break-even point. Because if I don't do that, I'm gonna turn off my assets too late. And the same thing goes for VA costs. I had no idea that I need to put my VA costs inside of the break-even point, because if I don't, I will lose money. And I also didn't know that I need to put a bunch of services which I bought basically also inside of the break-even point. And those things were just outside of my thinking. Basically, I didn't consider that. And I basically thought my break-even point is X. However, in reality, the number was way lower. And I was literally spending like $5,000 every single day for weeks. And I was literally just losing like $300 to $800 every single day. So on average, I was losing like $500 per day for weeks. And yeah, basically all the profits were gone. Like I just didn't check my bank accounts and everything seemed great. And then all of a sudden numbers went down and even lower and even lower. And at some point, there was not much left. Like I still had some money in there, but then I realized I need to pay my supplier a lot. So I had like a bill which I needed to cover for the supplier. And then basically, I literally saw that the supplier bill is the same amount as my bank account. So I was panicking and I had no idea what to do. And I basically had to pay the bill and I basically was left with nothing. Okay, so I had to scale down like crazy. And then the most interesting part happened. I had no idea where the money went. I had no idea how to prove that to the government. I needed to pay taxes on profit, which I did not have, all right? So in reality, I had less than my bank account. I owed money to the government. And it was a really crazy situation, and I felt terrible about it because I didn't understand how I could be so stupid and make so much money and lose everything. And this is the first time I publicly share this whole story like this, and there's a bunch of other things which also happened there, like a bunch of VAs also scamming me on top of that. All the things just went hand in hand and led me to losing all my money, but it happened, okay? And to recover from that was not the most difficult thing, because I had the process of finding winning products down, and I knew how to do that. So I just needed some initial budget to actually get started again. I got that pretty quickly with another service I just offered, and I had like a few $1,000s, which led me to going up again, okay? And after that, I never stopped doing the profit tracking properly because it's just so stupid. It's so stupid if you don't exactly know what's going on inside of your bank account. So this was the first story I wanted to tell, and the second one is basically a similar thing which happened to my student, and it was a really, really crazy one as well. However, I think the video is going to be a little bit too long if I also include that here. So if you're actually interested in this story, just write the word student story below this video, and then we're going to release this video next week. But now let's get into exactly the specific details of what you need to do so all of this doesn't happen to you. So the first thing is, even though this might sound like the exact opposite of what I just said, don't worry about this before you hit some number. Don't worry about all the little details before you make sales, all right? Before that, nothing else matters. Just make sales, and then you're gonna figure out exactly all the rest, okay? However, this is not something which you have to obsess about before testing your first product, because this is just gonna stop you from testing it entirely. But when you start testing, the first thing what you need to do is know your break-even point. That's something you need to know from the get-go, immediately, always. Okay? Your break-even point is basically how much money can you spend per sale to actually stay profitable. So super simple example, you sell a product for $100, your product cost is $50, and your fees are $5, then you basically have $45 for the marketing budget to actually, like, everything which is below $45, you're gonna make profit on, okay? This was a very simple example. There's more to it, but I think you get the point. You need to know this number. You need to calculate that including your average order value. So in this example, there's no average order value included. If somebody buys 2 pieces, it's gonna cost you less money to fulfill the order, because sending 2 products to 1 customer is not gonna cost you double the money, because the shipping is only paid once. So you're not gonna have double the product cost on double the revenue. However, sometimes you give discounts if somebody buys 2 or 3 pieces, and then it goes down as well. So it's kind of complicated to calculate the perfect number, and that's why you go with averages in the beginning. So your average order value, your average product cost, your average fee cost, and you take all of this very conservatively. So you take all the worst cases, and that's going to be your break-even point. If you make more, great. But you should never end up in the scenario where you take the best case scenario and then the worst case happens. Okay? So if you take one thing from the video, this is it. Take the worst case as the normal thing. Okay? The worst case is the thing which you need to calculate everything with. If you actually want to have my profit tracking sheet, just write the word profit tracking below this video. I'm going to send it your way, and you're going to have that covered as well. But it's just so important to keep doing that, because in the next video I'm going to release here, which basically talks about my student also losing a bunch of money with doing like just stupid mistakes like that, you're going to see how even with a perfect profit tracking system, you still sometimes will just slack, okay? Sometimes you understand what to do, but you just forget about doing it for a couple of weeks, and you don't do the profit tracking, and then you lose everything again. So listen, this is crucial. If you don't know your numbers, you're not gonna make profits in the long run. That's a guarantee, for sure, 100%, okay? So know your numbers. And the last thing I want to talk about here is if you actually want to sign up for a free consultation session with me personally, click the link below, sign up for that. We're going to have a one-on-one call where we're going to find out if we're a good fit for our mentoring program. And if yes, we're going to start working together one-on-one. And yeah, basically see you there.